have to wait until somebody pops in. And there's Spike Man. Hey, Spike Man, how's it going? Thomas, doing all right? This is the second test. Hey, I'm doing good. A little warm out here, though. It's like 85, 86 degrees out. I'm in the shed with the AC on, so no big deal. And I mounted the Starlink dish on a post and aligned it properly, and man, I'm getting some damn good speeds. So far, I'm very happy with it. Kentucky is in a thunderstorm right now. Yeah, we're looking at, it looks like it's going to get a storm here too. Getting pretty dark out that way. I didn't look at the, turn that thing off. That thing's loud. I didn't look at the weather report, so I'm not really sure, but it looks like it's going to rain. So I'm printing trucks for the for my rolling stock right now. I think I've got 9 of them painted, and the first set's going to go on this. Remember this? This is going to be the first one that gets the new treatment with new trucks and metal wheels and Katy couplers. Oh, absolutely. Well, look at these speeds. I just did a speed test. Now remember, I'm already live. 444.68 down and 35.22 up. And I'm pinging at 20. So I've got no drop frames. I'm in a solid green. And when I wasn't live earlier, I think the most I got was 556 down and 42 up. So, and it's just going to get better as time goes on. So, I haven't killed Comcast yet, but it's coming. I said, I hope we get a good thunderstorm here, because it should be affected by it, but I want to see if the rain or any kind of a thunderstorm is going to affect the performance of the dish. I don't think it will, but we'll see. The Eagle Boxcar with new trucks and new wheels. Yes, it will. That's the first one that's getting done, and I've got a whole bunch more that I've got. I think I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think I had more than 8, 9, 10, 11. I got 11 cars I got to put metal wheels on. And I think they all need Katy couplers too. So now that I can print them out and they look good, I'll be getting that straightened out. Comcast days are outnumbered. Yeah, they're hemorrhaging people left and right. I don't know why. Well, I guess I do know why, but you know, that's too bad, really. Now I still got more things to do, because I'm still using Comcast in the house. So I've got a router in here. I'm going to move the router into the house and run back an Ethernet cable back to here. So I'll get even better speeds than what I'm probably getting now. But the modem's going to stay here in the shed. And I think I might even be able to, I've got a second modem. So I'm not sure how to hook that up yet, but I'll figure it out. That NKP boxcar. Yeah, well, they're all going to get weighted too. Because this one here, this one's pretty heavy actually. This one's good. And the other one, I don't know what I got here. I got it buried underneath everything, but yeah, whatever one needs weights, I've got weights for them too. It's the what the hell did I do with them? I could have sworn I had them here. I got them. So I've got a bunch. Oh wait a minute, they're there. Is that them? Yeah. No, that's not the weights. Well, I got weights for them, the wheel weights, so I put them in there. They 4 per car, and that'll give me. See, I think they're 1 ounce each, so I might put 6 in, because those cars should have 6 ounces of weight. So I'll get it straightened out. And then I've got other cars up there. I've got actually a drawer full of cars that need wheels, trucks, and couplers. So I will have plenty to do for the foreseeable future. And I'm gonna have to buy more filament too, because well, this one's almost empty, the one that's on there right now, and I've got one more full one somewhere. What the hell I do with it? Oh yeah, it's sitting on the Viper heat bed. I already retired one Viper. I think I'm going to retire this one too, and just use the A1. I'm making you a U.S. sugar boxcar. Well, that's cool. That'd be different. So, out of all the cars I got, this one here is going to be the toughest one to fix, and the only reason is because, for whatever reason, they super glued, or they look like they're molded in. No, they're super glued. The coupler boxes, and I'm going to have to grind them down. I can't get them off because I like this car. It's a cool car. It's got opening doors and stuff. So I want to fix it up, but that's the only problem I got with it right now, because in order to get the correct height, I have to sand these boxes off and then put the new draft boxes on. Hey Lee, how's it going? Good to see you here, man. And the Gigliotis, Ray, how you doing? How's the new printer? That thing's kicking ass, man. Where the hell is it? I'm printing up trucks for all the rolling stock, and they're coming out perfect. So I print them up 4 at a time, and then they go in the paint booth where they get painted black. And they'll be ready to, well, I've got metal wheels put on them, and I'll tune them first with the old, the old track tuner. And then they'll go on the cars. Great listening is cooking food. Is it dinner time already? It might be in England, I don't know. So anyway, I rechecked my speeds on Starlink. I just did it now a few minutes ago while I was live. I got 444.68 down and 35.22 up. Those are fantastic speeds. When I'm not live, I get up over 500, and I think the last time I checked was 556 and 42 up. Pretty impressive, man. So, and I just finished mounting the dish on a post, so it's now 4 foot off the ground and properly aligned, because it was actually a little off before, and it was still running pretty good even while it was, what do you say, it was 8 degrees off from the perfect aim. So oh, we're doing pretty good. Like I said, this is the second test. I'm using OBS and the overlay I believe the overlay is working fine. I didn't check it lately. There we go. So the overlay works. It's a little slow, the overlay is. I don't know why. But that's alright though. At least it works. So we're doing pretty darn good. I can't wait for the show on Thursday night. It'll be nice to do a show on Thursday night at 6 o'clock and not be in the red. Or having stuttering and stumbling and buffering and all kinds of other crap. Well, hopefully not anyway. So, I've been in here pretty much all day so far. Like I said, I've been printing things. I did print. Well, I can't really see it from here. Right there is what they call a poop basket. I'd rather call it a shit basket myself because the word poop sounds too juvenile to me. But I printed it up so it catches the discarded waste molten filament before it starts to print. So I printed that up, and I'll tell you what, as big as that thing is, it printed it in a little over 2 hours. That's incredibly fast. On the Viper, that would have been like a 6-hour job. So it's amazing how fast this new printer is. And I've got other things I want to print too later on, but right now I'm concentrating on the HO scale trucks because I really need them. And I'm looking good. I'm looking at my laptop, which is, on the web, and I switched that over to Starlink too, because that was running on Comcast. Now it's running on Starlink. So I've got 2 devices, actually 3 devices running on Starlink, because I'm using the internet, Starlink internet for my phone as well. Even though I have a fairly good data plan, but I don't actually use it that much. So we're doing real good. They give you all kinds of stuff with the printer. Like this thing here. It's like a scrubber pad. It's a spare one. And this thing here is supposedly a foot pad in case one breaks off. And they give you 2 little tubes they give you a tube of oil and a tube of grease. Now I bought some expensive grease for the Viper, so I'll be using that to lubricate the rods, the vertical rods, and I'm not sure where they put the oil at. I got to figure that out. I mean, they give you a manual. Kind of a joke, Doesn't really tell you shit. Step by step how to assemble it. But then that's really all it tells you. So he said I had to look, because they gave me this bag of screws that says it's for the stiffener. I go, what the hell's a stiffener? I don't see nothing for that. So I went online. I go, what's a stiffener for a Bamboo Labs A1? Hey Jesse, how's it going? Yeah, more testing. So they said that when you have the AMS, which is the multicolor system, and if you want to mount it on top of the printer, because you can mount it on top or on the side, if you mount it on top, you need extra supports for the vertical rods of the printer. And that's what those screws are for. Which is weird because, I didn't order the AMS. And I'm not sure if I ever will. Although I might, you never know. But I wouldn't mount it on the top anyway. I'd rather have it beside it, so I don't have to fool around with weight and all the other crap. So I haven't really seen anything that's useful, except they do have a chain assembly that you could print to protect the cable on. You can see it, the one on the lower end there. That goes up and down with the horizontal arm. And I might print that that chain thing because that'll protect the cable. Jim, did you know yeah, I know I can get Wi-Fi extenders for Starlink. Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't think I'm going to need one actually because I could move the router into the house. And the router has Wi-Fi on it too. So like I said, I'm going to run Ethernet back here just like I had before. And I think the only other thing that runs Ethernet cable is my 10-inch TV. We've got Ethernet cable to go directly to her TV. I think she's running on Wi-Fi now because the TV she's using doesn't have an Ethernet port. So, but she should be okay. I haven't talked to her yet. Probably tomorrow or Monday I'll go over there and see if there's going to be any problems with her using the Wi-Fi for Starlink. There shouldn't be because it's pretty close to this setup here. And also think about moving the router up higher. And if that's the case, and like I said, I could go ahead and just get the extender and run the Wi-Fi, in the house, because the main computer in the living room is on Wi-Fi anyway, and I can't run a cable to it without having fucking Ethernet cables going around doors and shit, and I don't like doing that. So I just elected to do it on Wi-Fi. So I may look into that. Like I said, they got all kinds of different things to do. I kind of like having the main everything out here. The router's out here, the modem's out here, where I really need the stuff. I mean, absolutely need it. So I'll figure it out over the next few days. I'm not in that much of a hurry, but I wanted to get the dish actually mounted on a pole. I said my neighbor started building this fence again on the property line. I says, hey, you do me a favor. He said, what do you need? I says, well, I'm going to get a 4x4. And he had one of those gas-powered hole diggers, I says, can you dig a hole about 3 foot down for me on my property right next to where the dish is on the ground? He says, yeah. He says, do you want a pole too? I says, well, I guess. He says, I'll give it to you what I paid for. I said, what'd you pay me? He said, $10. I said, yeah, I'll take it. So I gave him $20, because I figured labor. Took him like 2 minutes to do it, drilling, because it's all sand. Drilled down in there and set the post, filled it back in, tamped it down real good, solid as a rock. So it's an 8-foot post and there's 4 foot in the ground. So then I went ahead and put my wall mount on it and set the dish on it and used my phone to get the alignment right. Because actually on the ground it was 8 or 11 degrees off from perfect alignment. So now it's on the pole. I got perfect alignment, 0 degrees. So it's like, yeah. And I feel better with it off the ground anyway. Now I still have the cable on the ground, and I'm going to bury that at some point. I don't know when. So I just got to be careful there. I got to remember that it's there, so I don't run it over with my lawnmower, because that would be bad. But it is what it is. Let's see, Ray says, anyone in here know more about designing things? What do you want to design, Ray? I design a lot of stuff for myself, The toughest part of designing things is getting the dimensions right, What's your drop frames right now? None, 0. 0 drop frames, 100% in the green, 6193 kilobytes per second transmission. CPU usage is a 71%, 60 frames per second, and you can't ask for more than that. So Ray, what do you want to design? I mean, I can maybe help you with something. It depends, you know. If it's real complicated, I probably can't do it. I mean, I design things that are relatively simple in design. I mean, I've done a few complicated things, but like I said, the hardest part is getting the dimensions right, you know. Like what the hell did I didn't design that, but Crooked Dave wanted something that he just needed the file, and he says, you know, can you resize it? I go, well, what size is it supposed to be? He said, I don't know. I go, that's not very helpful. So, you know, but that's the hardest part, and I did get it right. It actually was a howitzer for his military park scene, and I've never seen a howitzer in real life, so I don't know how big it is, say, compared to a car or a truck. So I had to kind of guess, and he said, yeah, this come out looked pretty good, because the first one I printed, he said, looks like N scale. I said, all right, well, that's too small. So I said, let me bump up the size, and I just do the file for him, because he hasn't figured out how to do files yet. I emailed him the file, he loads it in the printer, prints it up, and, you know, it was good to go. Yeah, Jesse said the drop frames is what I watch. Yeah, that's what I watch too. Like I said, drop frames means you're going to get stuttering, jerky motion. If it's bad enough, you'll get buffering. They like to avoid all those things. Like I said, so far we're doing good. So I will email you the info thing. All right, no problem, Ray. I said if I can help you, I will. If not, I'll let you know. But I've been able to design. I mean, I've designed some things that, you know, I needed. I have my landfill in the back corner, and in most landfills they have it's like a tractor looking thing, but it has steel wheels on it with spikes on them. Well, they actually made one HO, but it was like $100 and some, and I'm going, screw that, I'm gonna print one. So I was able to find a file for the wheels, but I had to design the tractor myself, and I did, and it looks identical pretty much to what the real one looks like. So I did okay on that, and it took me like 2 days to really get the file sorted out properly, you know, the design. And I've designed other things, that water tower. That's so well you can't see it, but you know, I wonder if my cameras are working. I didn't check the cameras yet on any of this stuff. Let's see, which camera would that even be? That one. Oh, that's the other camera. Oh, there it is. Okay. You can see the that teal-looking water tower over there. I designed that from scratch. I had really nothing to go by except the general size, but actually the original one I made was O scale, and I did it for I can't remember now, John something. He wanted one for his O scale layout. He says, "Can you make one?" I said, "Yeah, I'll give it a shot." So I made one for him, and then I scaled it down. I think I made one for Crooked Dave too. Maybe it was Crooked Dave that wanted it first. I don't remember. But I've learned how to design certain things, but I use Tinkercad on the web, and there are limitations to what you can do with it. Now I think I used another CAD program on a limited basis because I really need to teach myself how to do CAD, and I really haven't. You know, unless it's simple. But I have actually used other software to make minor changes and things that I couldn't do in Tinkercad. Oh. It's always something, isn't it? But that's the nature of this whole thing. And you know, I noticed on the internet lately, like MSN, there's a lot of talk about what you can and can't do with 3D printers. And they're really elevating, you know, how great 3D printing is to a certain degree, which it is. And I don't know what they're up to. Because, you know, for a minute there, they were. Yeah, and they're still trying. California wants to ban 3D printing or highly regulate it because they're afraid, you know, oh, the people are making guns with them. I'm so tired, sick and tired of hearing about this shit. If you want to take your chances with a 3D printed gun, knock yourself out, you'll probably wind up dying when it backfires and blows up in your hand. You know, if it even fires at all. If you need a gun, get a real one, you know. 3D printing is not the way to go when it comes to firearms. I wouldn't trust it. I have files for, I think, for a 1911 and an AK-47. There ain't no damn way I'd ever print one of them things and put a 45 bullet in a plastic gun or a 7.62 by 3.9 in a plastic AK-47. You'd have to be stupid to do that, you know. So I'm not buying into this crap though. That's why we got to regulate 3D printers, because people are printing guns with them. I think the reality is some of the retailers are starting to realize that we're not going to buy their overpriced crap from China when we can print it ourselves for, you know, a tenth the cost. And I think that's what they're really worried about. And ultimately, I would say that they will probably regulate it to the point where, just like YouTube, you can't use, you know, copyrighted music or anything copyrighted. They'll do the same thing on 3D printed. Well, if it's copyrighted or patented, we're not going to let you print it. So, you know, who knows what the hell they'll do, but so rather than just lower prices on shit and make it affordable, no, let's try and kill the competition, you know. Not going to work. That was one of the reasons why I hurried up and bought the A1, because they said in the near future, possibly within the next 3 to 6 months, they're going to change the software in these printers to where you will need permission to print certain things. So I don't have that potential now, and I won't do any updates on it or anything like that. So, you know. Hey, Signal Cabin, how you doing? Good to see you here, man. So that's my take on it anyway, you know. So if you guys, anybody's out there thinking about buying a 3D printer, now would probably be the time. And there's so many out there, I don't know which one to recommend. I like the Bamboo Labs A1. $300 isn't bad for one. They have more expensive ones, but you know. The Anycubic, well, they don't make the Viper anymore, obviously, so they have the Cobra and the Cobra Plus, which is supposed to be a good machine. I don't know anything about it, but you might want to go with that route too. I don't know what they cost either. But I like the Bamboo because it does so much before it prints. It checks the bed level every time, which you can't go wrong with, you know. And it keeps the head, the print head, or print nozzle, keeps it spotless all the time. You know, your other machines don't do that. So, and this is very quiet and very fast. I mean, you know, to me that seems like a no-brainer. In fact, it just finished not too long ago. Print more of the trucks that I'm doing. I'm printing 4 at a time, so and I've got to print up like 30 of them. But here's one of them. It's not very, it's kind of blurry, but it's very sharp, very detailed. Excuse me, everything looks really good on them. I paint them black, put metal wheels on them, and they're ready to rock and roll. And that's a lot cheaper than actually buying them, you know. I don't know what they cost to buy because I don't think I've ever bought one. But regardless of what they cost, it just makes more sense to, you know, to print your own. So, anyway, I'm not going to be on here too much longer because I just basically a test. Let me run another speed test on here. See what we come up with. Oh, not bad. Still climbing. See, like the longer I have this, the faster it gets to a certain point. Like it takes, like you said, 3 to 5 days. Right now, being on, you know, being live, I've got 429.81 down, and upload is starting to look really good too. 35.46 up. So 429 down, 35 up on a satellite dish. Shit, that's better speeds than I was getting on Comcast on a good day. No bitching there, right? Alright, well, I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up now. I probably won't come back on until Thursday. Unless something comes up, but so far I'd say the test is a success. I'm watching on my monitor here to some degree. Like I said, no stuttering, no jerky motions, no buffering. You can't ask for more than that. Just says you're about where I am with the speed for Starlink. Alright, cool. That's, I don't like, I don't know how much better it'll get. Well, before I went live, I got 556 down and 42 up. And like I said, it's basically, and he didn't have it perfectly aligned out on the ground either. So now it's mounted on a post. It's solid. And I've got it perfectly aligned. So I'm thinking maybe the next couple of days, hell, who knows, you know. I mean, the literature that Starlink gave me says, you know, approximately 400 down and 40 up, and I'm exceeding that. So, who the hell knows? Yeah, well, there's a storm coming up by the looks of it. It's pretty black out in that way, which would be north of us. And I'm gonna check my speeds. I won't be online. I don't think I need to, but let me open the door and take a peek out here. Yeah, it's coming. I don't know when. I'd say within the next hour we should be getting a pretty good thunderstorm coming in because it's getting real black out there. I don't think it's going to make a difference, to be honest with you. Because Tom from Tom's Strange Things, after he put his up, they had a storm over there. And I said, how did it do in the storm? He said, no difference. Alright. So, you know, if it did drop, it's probably going to be insignificant. But like I said, the big difference between Starlink and regular dish, Starlink, wasn't it you that said, Jesse, it can take up, it tracks up to 45 satellites at a single time? You know, where your regular dish from Dish Network or whatever, one satellite and that's it, you know. It aims at that one, and if anything gets in the way of it, well, you're screwed. You got 45 of them up there, and that's probably even more than that now, who knows. You're not going to lose signal. Hey, Steve 87, how you doing, man? Long time no see. No, here actually. How you doing there, man? I'm testing out Starlink. I just got it yesterday, and I'm doing my second kind of stress test on it, and so far so good. We have an incoming storm coming. Probably be here within the hour, so I'll check the speeds while there's a torrential downpour out there. It shouldn't make a difference. We'll find out. And even if it does, we don't get that much rain here anyway, as a rule, so I'm not worried about it. So, unfortunately, last couple of days I've been messing with that Starlink, and I bought an a Bamboo Labs A1 printer, right there. I got that together yesterday, and then late last night I started printing up a few things, and like I said, now I'm printing up the HO scale trucks, and they're coming out really nice. I got to paint them black yet, but I'm doing 4 at a time, and I've so far I've got what, 4, 8, 12. I've got 13 so far. I know 13's an odd number, but the first one I did 1. And I remembered I could do multiple times in there, so I'll stick with 4 and see how it works. So far so good. Let's see what else is going on. That's about it, really. Like I said, I'm working on, for those other guys, let me switch cameras again. Alright, you'll see right there, I built a new drop arm because I didn't like the other one. It was a pain in the ass. This one is well, I wouldn't call it self-powered, but there'll be no wires on it that are exposed. What I've got here is these centering pins that are brass. 4 of them provide power. The other 2 provide stability for this and centers everything. So there's no play in this at all. These wires here, you can barely see, unfortunately. There we go. These wires here, they're too long. I have to shorten them, but they're going to go to the track. And then the other side of the wires go here, and they go underneath the layout. I'll tie them into the bus line. So when I lift this up, it'll cut power to the track. So I figured that might be a good idea. And I took that idea off another guy called Scott Rails, and he used cabinet hinges, which are hidden. And the whole thing looks a lot better and more solid than what I had. I hope to have that done sometime later this week. And then hopefully trains will be running again, because that's really the only thing holding up. I've got no power to most of the track right now because I got everything disconnected. Let's see. Steve says I have been busy, stuck in Chicago airport because plane was broken last night. That's scary. How is the price compared to cable or other satellite? Well, I got the most expensive one they offered, which is $120 a month. And that's straight up $120 bucks. There's no taxes or other fees if there are already built into it. So I just paid the first bill. I was paying $106 for Comcast, and so yeah, it was a few dollars more. But yeah, I'm getting. I mean, the transmission quality is, and a lot of people say I look better here too. The picture overall looks better, and I saw that too. Even on my monitor, it just looks cleaner for some reason and sharper. So, and I didn't pay nothing for the equipment. I paid, well, I take that back. I paid $21.40 to ship it. $21.40. And then I bought the wall mount, which was $72. Everything else came with it. The modems, the router, all the cabling. If you have it professionally installed, which was also free, which I did because, I'm disabled, they'll provide they'll probably provide the mounts if you need them, I guess. I'm not sure. But you can get everything you need on there for a small fee. And of course, they said if you have to hire a contractor that they don't cover, they'll reimburse you up to $500 for the install. Overall, it's a pretty damn good deal. Now, you're leasing the equipment. There's no fee attached to it. As long as you have the service, the equipment stays with you. And you can move the equipment wherever you ever want to. If you move, it goes with you. But if you cut the service, then you have to return everything. So, and I don't know what that would cost, but the dish is pretty big, and I mean, overall though, I think it's a great deal, because at first I was kind of leery. I said, I used to piss and moan about paying $106 for Comcast, and I was on their second tier system. Comcast was, which was supposed to give me download speeds of up to 1150, which was bullshit because I never got it. At best, I got, I think, 960. And upload speeds of 4041, which I actually did get that, but half the time the damn thing wouldn't work. Well, you saw it. The problems with, going in the red, drop frames, it was just terrible. So I says, you know what, I'd rather pay a few dollars more and get a good service than to screw around with Comcast. Because the problem with Comcast is, well, there's a multiple problems with them. But remember, all their stuff is old. They've been around forever. The lines on the poles probably all need to be replaced. They're not doing it, The amplifiers on the poles between the lines, they probably need to be replaced. They're obviously not doing it. They won't even replace the lines going to your house unless there's a problem, and in some cases they'll charge you for it. They said Tom Kvichak went through all this shit, and he was on the top tier. He was paying, I think, like $160 a month for his, and he was guaranteed, I think, what was it, a gig and a half down and like 50 up. Never got it, And it seems like he does live stream 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Every time he went live, it just starts screwing up. And I thought maybe they were even throttling him to a certain point. Maybe they were. It's hard to tell. And then he finally got fed up, and he says, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and get the Starlink. So he did, and he's happy as hell with it. And he says, you need to get it too. I said, well, Comcast's still working pretty good at the moment. But if it starts screwing up, yeah, I probably will. Well, it was like an omen or something that started screwing up. And I'm going, all right, well, it's time to get rid of Comcast. And, the same thing was happening to me. I only live stream as a rule, Thursday night, 6 to whenever. 6 o'clock on the dot, my speeds would go to hell. Drop frames, I'm in the red, I'm in the yellow. Sometimes it would clean up, sometimes it wouldn't. And I says, that's funny how it only happens on Thursday, Any other night, I go on, didn't really do live, but I monitored the speeds. And all the other days and times and whatever, they're all fine. But not Thursday at 6 o'clock. So, motherfuckers are probably throttling me, Because the service I had along with Tom's, unlimited data, or unlimited bandwidth or whatever. So you couldn't use more than, more than what they would allot because there was no allotment. So I think maybe they were figuring out, well, these guys are costing us money. We better, cut them back a little bit. And like, well, yeah, whatever. Rather than fix the problem, if there was one. And they were sending people to Tom's house like every week. Because, he'd call them up and bitch. And I don't blame him. I'm paying big money for this. And the service sucks. So they'd send somebody out. Well, we can't find nothing wrong. $100, please. I mean, he got most of that knocked off, you know, because that's bullshit too. They charge you $100 when it's their fault. Their system sucks, and they want you to pay for the privilege of them telling you that basically they can't figure out the problem. Bullshit. So like I said, he got fed up with it. Because my wife said, why don't you just call them up and have them come down? I said, why? They'll do the same thing they did to Tom. They'll come here, oh, it's working fine. You know, but it's not. So I don't care what your phone says or whatever your touch equipment says. It ain't fucking working when I need it to. So, yeah. I don't regret switching over at all. I was never a big fan of Comcast anyway. I had problems with them down in Naples. Not so their service was fine, but their billing, they had so many problems with billing down there. And I said every month I'd have a different price structure. Sometimes I got double billed, you know, or I'd pay the bill. I said, well, you still owe us money. I just paid the bill. No, you didn't. Yeah, I did. I'd have to actually go to the bank and get a copy of the checks. You know, it's paid, man. You got the money. Oh yeah, I guess we did. Well, don't fucking argue with me then, you know. It's bullshit. So I got so fed up with them that I dropped them down there. And I went to CenturyLink, which is the phone company, which is DSL. It wasn't quite as fast as them, but it was fast enough to where I didn't have any problems. And down there, the service was excellent. And when I came up here, I got CenturyLink, and their service was terrible. And once again, it was a problem with the phone lines. You know, they allow, I think it's 2 pairs to each house, because the second pair of lines is like a backup. Well, neither pair going to my house was worth the shit, so they actually stole somebody else's pair and says, you know, they don't have phone or anything, so we're going to use their pair. And, you know, it worked a little bit for a while, and then it quit. And he says, you know, why don't you just put new lines in? Well, you're underground. I said, yeah, what's your point? You can't pull wire underground? You know, we're not going to do that. I said, well, then I guess we're just going to have to cancel your service. So I went to Comcast, said, look, I need internet, and, you know, what can you do for me? And so for the last almost 6 years, I've had them here in Sebring. And they were doing pretty good for a long time there. Just like recently, they just gone to hell. I don't know what's going on. Like I said, I think the problem is they just got old stuff mostly. Rather than spending money in it and fixing it, they're just, you know, we'll just cut back on customer service. Okay. Last I heard, Comcast was hemorrhaging customers left and right, and they're pissed off about it. Why is everybody dropping us? Well, gee, I wonder. You know, that's messed up, man. It really is. Anyway, I should probably drop off now. Like I said, the test is successful. Hey, Ray Burleson. Every time I get ready to sign off, somebody pops in. You're confused? Well, you're in good company. We're all confused. This is a Starlink test. Test number 2. Did test number 1 yesterday. I mounted the dish on a post. It's about 4 foot off the ground now instead of on the ground. And got it properly aligned. It really wasn't yesterday. And I figured I'd like to test it, you know, stress test it. And I've got the laptop on it, my computer on it, and my phone on it. And it's working great. Matter of fact, I just did a speed check a few minutes ago. Now 429 down and 35 up, and it's just going to keep getting better for the next couple of days till it locks in all 45 satellites. So we're doing good. Yeah, I'm thinking, or maybe I should just stay on, but because the storm's not far away. There is a storm coming in. It looks like it might be a good one. I probably should at least leave it open and see what happens. I don't think it's going to make a difference. Uh, it shouldn't, technically. I mean, you know, the clouds are basically I think they're impervious to radar signals or any kind of audio signaling, because you would think if it would be a problem in the rain, it would also be a problem on a cloudy day. Now, we've had crystal clear skies out all day today. There's not a cloud in the sky. Like I said, we got the storm coming in. I don't think it's going to make a difference. Like I said, Tom from Tom's Trains and Things, after he put his up, we had a bad storm, mostly in his area. He's about 10 or 12 miles north of me in Sebring. And I asked him, I says, how did it do? He said, no difference. I said, well, that's good. So we'll see. Okie dokie. Yeah, well, you know. So this will be the last time I go on till Thursday. So the next time you see me, it should be Thursday at 6 o'clock. Unless something comes up before then, but I think I am going to just stay on until the storm hits and see what happens. Just for shits and giggles, right? I said, it's looking pretty black out there, so I don't know. Well, it almost looks like it could rain any minute, you know? But really, who knows? Dundas Junction Model Railroad, Mr. James, how you doing? And Tom Grassy. Tom, how's it going? Jim looks good. Busy on the roundhouse building. Cool. Yeah, this is a second test, and I'll tell you, I just did my speed check. This will be live. 429 down and 35 up. And I permanently mounted it on a post earlier today, the dish. I got my new neighbor. He's planting posts for his fence, you know, along a property line. I said, hey, could you do me a favor? What do you need? I said, I'm going to buy a 4x4, you know, pressure treated. Nice. You got one of those boring tools, you know, gas powered boring tool. So could you dig a hole about 3 or 4 foot down next to my dish? He said, oh, yeah, no problem. He says, you want, I'll give you a post too. I says, well, what do you want for the post? He says, give me $10 for it. That's what I paid for it. I said, all right, no problem. So I went to the bank, pulled out a 20, bringing back $20, you know, 10 for the post, 10 for the labor, because it only took him like 2 minutes. He planted that fucking post in there, man. Did a beautiful job. And I put the wall mount on it and mounted the dish and aimed it, and we're doing good. So James says, I'm doing okay, busy painting 2 kits. No, a lot of painting going on lately. Yeah, I did. I love this printer, man. I don't know why the hell I didn't get one sooner. I gotta let them cool off yet, but I'm printing trucks, HO scale trucks. I've already printed 13 of them, and now 4 more. I've done them 4 at a time. And most of them are in the paint booth getting painted black, because I've got to make like 20 or 30 of them. Or more than that actually, because there's 2 per. Oh shit, there's 20 cars. I need to print 40 of them. And I printed the poop basket, which I hate calling it a poop basket, but I call it a shit basket. But I printed that, and I don't know if you can see it here or not. It's right there. You know, to catch the waste. And that thing printed fast, man. And it's fairly big, and I think it printed in a little over 2 hours. So holy shit! If I did that on the Viper, it would have been a 4 or 5 hour job, maybe more. I also printed the scraper handle. Now the one that came with it on the disc, I printed it. I didn't like it, so I got on Maker World, and I also downloaded the Bamboo slicer software, because I found out that the Cura doesn't work well with Bamboo Labs. So yeah, the poop basket. So I printed a new handle, and the handle actually sits in the back of the basket, and I haven't actually had to use it yet, but I got it there, and I got everything all figured out. It was a little bit of a learning curve, figuring out how to work everything. I still may do the Wi-Fi on the printer yet, because now I'm just basically putting the mini SD card in the slot in my computer. But I haven't set up the Wi-Fi yet, but I might just do it, because Wi-Fi is very strong in here, because I got all the equipment for Starlink right in here. So, and that would be easier. I could just do like what you're doing, do it on the computer, hit print, sends it to the computer, and it does it. So I'm probably gonna do that. I'll tell you what. I'm pretty sure I'm going to retire the other Viper here the next day or two, maybe today. I already retired the first one. It's sitting under the bench, and I'm thinking, you know what? I ain't going to use this fucking thing either. I'm probably going to try and sell them, for whatever I can get out of them, which won't be much. They work, but and I'm just going to keep the A1 for now. Maybe next year I'll pick up a second A1. And at some point, probably in between, I might even buy an AMS unit. I'm still on the fence with that, but it seems like it might be cool enough. It's one of those things, if you have it, you'll probably find things to do with it. So, it's only $100 anyway, so what the hell, We'll see. But, I'm having fun. Sort of. Hot as hell outside though, man. It's like 88 degrees out there. I got the air down in here. It's down to 76. Are the trucks still flexible after cure? Well, you don't cure them because it's filament. I think, Tom Grassi tried resin printing them and they snap. As soon as you try and put the wheels in them, they just break. So they're flexible enough with the a little bit, not a lot. I mean, you could probably break it if you pressed it too hard, but you can spread it enough to get the wheel set in there without hurting it. But you have to do it on the filament printer. Resin printing doesn't work. Now, I think they have a flexible resin that you could probably get away with, but I've never used it, so I don't know. Yeah, my camera here a little bit, a little off center. Roberto said no curing on yeah, exactly. There's no cure on filament, just resin. So you print it, paint it, and they're ready to rock and roll. And I did Tom knows too. We went through probably a dozen files before we found one that actually worked. Because they had a whole bunch of files for these trucks. And then when you print them out, you find they were either too wide or not wide enough, or there was always something wrong with them. And I don't remember if it was me or Tom. One of us found the right one, and we shared it, of course. And hey, Gerald, what's going on? We've been using them ever since, and they're perfect. They fit, the 33-inch wheels, and now I don't have a file for 36-inch wheels, and I don't think you can put 36 on these. But for the 33-inch wheels, they work fine. And I still tune them, with a little tuning tool. And after you tune them, man, they just roll forever. Hey, Gerald. So what you up to, Gerald? Well, I don't see you around much anymore. What are you too busy for us uh, live streamers anymore, or what? even Tom Kavicek was asking about you yesterday on his Friday night show. He says, "Yeah, I don't see Gerald much anymore." I said, "Yeah, I don't hardly see him either." I said, "Nah, he's probably just busy with life. Who knows? It happens." So, Jim, on my trucks, I do not have to tune them at all. Well, I'm looking at this, and they're perfect. You probably don't have to tune them. And I haven't actually put a wheel set in one yet, but I just assumed I would have to tune them. I'll see if I don't need to tune them, I won't do it. Because like I said, they look pretty damn good. I mean, the holes in the inside holes look perfect. So it looks like they might be great. I was also thinking maybe investing in the 2 millimeter nozzle for that too, because they got a 3-pack. You can get a 2 millimeter, the 4 millimeter, and a 6 millimeter. I don't know what the hell you'd use a 6 millimeter for, but um, you can buy just the nozzles, or you could buy the whole head. I think I'd rather just have the whole head of something you snap them in and out. But yeah, I'm thinking that 2 millimeter nozzle might be the best bet, for doing really detail work. I mean, I don't know how much better you can get than this as it is, but who knows. Are you using a 2 millimeter on any of your stuff, or you using just the 4? Yeah, technically you were here yesterday, Gerald. But I don't hardly ever see you on the live stream anymore, my Thursday night stream. Kind of miss having you there, man, with your, great humor and stuff. Of course, the up until now, the live streams have been pretty shitty anyway. About the last month or so. Tom says, Jim, I only have a 4 millimeter nozzle. Okay. So I'll probably be the first one to get a 2 thing. I was thinking about ordering one today, later on from Amazon. Gerald says, I've been playing with Linux Zorn OS. I like it better than Windows 10. I haven't heard of the Zorn. Um, the only Linux I did, oh shit, I can't remember what it was called now. I tried it on the laptop. I think because it's different, I had some issues with it. I know it's a more stable OS than Windows is. But, you know. But Zorn must be a new one. I'll have to look into that. Back to airbrushing, Ali. Okay, go ahead. Have at it, man. So, let's see. James says nozzle for 3D printer because I use a 3 millimeter and 5 millimeter in my airbrush. Okay, yeah, I use a 3 millimeter in my airbrush. Um, the one I just bought only has a 3 millimeter in it. My other one, the trigger one that finally took a shit, that had a three, a 5, and was it a 7 maybe? I don't know. I had three different. Well, it had different rods too. The different rod and the nozzle to go with it. Um, that's a little bit different though from a 3D printer. So the nozzle change on a 3D printer is kind of a pain in the ass, and usually you have to do it hot, which also makes it a pain in the ass or a pain in the fingers. So the way the Bamboo Labs is, it has basically a module. I think it's the hot end and the nozzle is one piece. I mean, it's technically two pieces, but you can flip a lever, pull the whole thing out, pop the whole new thing in, flip the lever back, and you're ready to rock and roll. No wrenches or any bullshit to mess with. I mean, they sell nozzles for the bamboo A1, but I just soon have the whole, heat head hot end assembly. So, and they're not that expensive. It was like $19 for a pair of them. I think I saw one where there was a 2 and a 4, then there was two twos or two fours. So I'll probably get probably the 2 and the 4. So I have an extra 4 millimeter, and I'll have a 2 millimeter if I want to do some really serious detail work. Because John Tanzillo, he's got an A1 or a Mini, I'm not sure which, and he was printing an end scale pickup truck with his, and it came out nice. And I guarantee he was using the 2 millimeter nozzle. But I tell you what, there's no way in hell I'd ever attempt to do that on my Vipers. It just wouldn't do it. You'd just have a blob mess, So I always considered that was a resin printing job. And most of the vehicles I do print are resin printed. But now that I know I could actually print them on this, well, who knows, I'm still a bigger fan of filament printing than I am resin printing. Nozzle for 3D printer. Okay. Happy Valley Hobbies. Hey, Edward. How you doing, man? Shortline Thursday on a Saturday. Hello, everyone. I know. It's confusing as hell, isn't it? This is test number 2 for the Starlink. I got it mounted on the pole. It's aimed properly, and I'm getting incredible speeds with it. I just did a speed check just recently, a few minutes ago, and 429 down and 35 up. I'm getting actually might as well say a perfect transmission for the live stream. No drop frames. I'm in the green hard, and we're doing good. So I don't think I'll have to do another test after this. And I am running the main computer in the shed, my laptop, and my phone all on satellite. So once I get it straightened out for the rest of the house, because I got all the equipment here in the shed. So I know I'm going to run a Ethernet cable into the house, and I could use my wife. She can use her computer right off the Ethernet cable. And there's somebody was telling me that, I think it was Jesse was telling me that they have a Wi-Fi extender that works real well for the Starlink. I'll look into that, and I could just use. My main computer in the house is on Wi-Fi. I can't get cables to it, so hopefully, Let's see. Hey, Derek Alexander. How you doing, Derek? Hey, Big Jim, there's no stopping you now that you've got good internet with Starlink. Good numbers. Yes, that's true. Gerald says, Mint is good for older systems and newer ones with less than 6 gig of RAM. Zorin is better for 8 gig RAM and above. It works like a lot like Windows. I'll have to look into that because I'm running 32 gig of RAM in this machine. And I think I'm running 32 in the other machine too. Now the laptop I'm only running 4. I'll look into it. Tom said, Jim, your stream title shows Shortline Thursday. Yeah, I know. It's not supposed to say that. I thought I'd change that out, but it probably didn't. I could have sworn I changed it to say Starlink test number 2, but I guess I didn't. Oh no, it does show Shortline. Yeah. Okay. Well, I fucked up. Let's see. Steve's taking off. All right, Steve. Well, thanks a lot, man. Have a good weekend. Be safe. Have fun. Hopefully, we'll see you next time. Ray says, Thomas, Jim has been a little off for a long time. That's true. That's an old saying. As you're leaving outdoors, it says, oh, I'm going now. Or no, I'll be off and I'll be going as well. Or no, I'm off and I'll be leaving as well. That's how it went. Let's see. I mean, yeah, there's no denying I'm a little off. Maybe more than a little, I don't know. But, you know. I mean, I don't overthink shit, you know? It's like, alright, I don't really care. It's a test, for Christ's sake, you know. No, I'm not using StreamYard. I'm using OBS right now. I used OBS today, and I used StreamYard yesterday. I think of the day before. I don't even remember now, but I wanted to make sure OBS worked fine. And like I said, I'm doing good. The numbers are great. Got no complaints whatsoever. Gerald says I made a dual boot with Windows 10 and Zorin OS, so I could switch back if I need to do something the old way. Okay, that makes sense. The only thing I didn't like about Linux, and I may have fixed it by now, because like I said, way back in the day when I played with it, my old tenant, when she moved over, she says, you know, can I hook into your internet? I said, oh, absolutely, that's part of the rent, you know. She says, I don't know how to do it. And I said, well, you just look for, I didn't know she had Linux. I said, just look for, yeah, I don't remember what, I think it was Turbo was the main name and then the password. And she goes, no, it doesn't work like that. I said, well, what the hell you got? She said, I got Linux. Holy shit, I don't even know how to do that one. Well, I figured it out. I had to manually install the drivers for the internet, and my username and passwords. That was a pain in the ass. Where, you know, Windows, you basically, if there's a signal, whether it be Ethernet or Wi-Fi, it'll see it, you click on it, type in your password, and you're good to go. And Linux, you couldn't do that at the time. Like I said, it might be different now. I don't know. I'm trying to think of what the hell the name of it was. It was Linux. Like, it's been probably about 8-9 years since I fooled with that. Now it's been longer than that. No, closer to 10. And oh, it was Ubuntu. The Ubuntu edition. Had weird fucking names for this shit, you know. I mean, it was stable, but it really wasn't anything like Windows. You know, it was a completely different OS. It reminded me more of the the old DOS system, but a little better. You know, and that's why I said, well, we're not going that way. And I absolutely refuse to go to Windows 11. Everything I'm reading about, they're saying they've got so many problems with it. I want nothing to do with it. And Gerald says, on Brave, Linux is just like, oh, okay, that's cool. I'll look into it. I'll check it out, you know, because you never know, because, you know, I'm on Windows 10. All my computers are on Windows 10. And I'm not really worried about it, but, you know, they're making a big shit about it. And I think ultimately they're probably going to try and, you know, fuck it up. So we'll be forced to go to 11. Well, that ain't happening. All right. I don't want 11. I'm not taking 11. If they do a 12, I might look into 12. You know, if they don't fuck that all up. But I don't like being forced to, you know, to upgrade when I don't want to. It was like when I had 7, you know. They pretty much shit canned that. Well, you're going to have to go to 8. 8 sucked, as we all know. Then they went to 8.1, was supposed to fix it. That sucked almost as much. And what happened to Windows 9? They just bypassed it altogether. Went straight to 10. I'm going, oh, 10 looks good. I'll check out 10, you know. But, I mean, I was happy with 7, you know. And I didn't like the idea that we were being forced to, you know, well, we're not going to support it anymore. We're going to write new software that won't even work on it. No, this is bullshit, you know. Somebody needs to knock off them fuckers. I'll tell you, that's what they need to do. So just check out videos on Screwtube. Yeah, I will. In fact, let me write that down because I will forget it. Where'd my pen go? There we go. Linux Zorn. Sounds like a space alien. Like I said, I thought Ubuntu was bad, but Zorn's almost as bad. Are them guys on drugs when they name this shit or what? Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Let's do another speed check just for shits and giggles. Oh, wow. $409 down. We're pinging at 16, which is also good. And looks like 35 up. Not bad. And like I said, it would be even better if I wasn't live right now. Because before I went live, I checked it. It was 556 down and 42 up. Which is better than what they said it would be, because they said, you know, you should probably get 400 down. And I think they said 25 or 30 up. So I'm thinking, well, shit, that's not bad. All right, Lee, have a good one, man. Thanks for popping in, and we'll see you next time. Well, Thursday, hopefully. And have fun with your airbrush, man. I gotta be using mine here pretty soon too. I just bought this at the last train show. Well, I bought it at Hobby Lobby, but the same day of the train show up in the Villages in Florida. And it's got a self-contained compressor on it. And I like it. It works great. Nice not having a cord with it, you know. Hey, Messy Modeler, how you doing, man? Good to see you. So I've done some airbrushing with it already. I want to do a lot more, especially on the layout. Like on the second level, I want to, you know, basically weather all the tracks. This is going to be perfect for that, you know, because you really can't do it with a brush. And, you know, really all I got to do is put a strip of tape on the top rails, spray the sides, you know, the outside that I see on this side and the inside that I see on the other side. I won't do the back sides of the rails because you won't see them. But you just right through there and they're done. Pull the tape off. You don't have to worry about any, you know, paint contamination on the rails, and you're good to go. Like I said, without a cord and a big heavy compressor to cart around, you can't go wrong. There's a link for something. I'll check that link out a little later. Oh, it's probably for the Zorn, huh? Okay, cool. So I tell you, I wish they'd just quit fucking with things. You know what I'm saying? And this is a problem with like so many areas of our lives. You know, you get something that works. Oh no, we're gonna make it better, and it usually isn't. But they're so hell bent on making everything better, and it's not. You know, like I said, Windows 7 was fine. They could have maybe added on some, you know, upgrades to it later on, kept it at 7, and it would have been fine. Oh no, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna do Windows 8, and 8 sucked. I didn't even take it. I tried it on my laptop because I used the laptop for the guinea pig, you know. Put it on a laptop. So now this shit sucks, man. Went back to 7, you know. Then they came out with 8.1, which was supposed to fix all the bugs. It didn't. You know, it's like, wow, this is bullshit. And like I said, I don't know what the hell happened to Windows 9. Maybe they figured 9 is bad luck or something. So they went right to 10. And when I checked out the 10, I go, oh, I like this one. I think I'll go with it. And I didn't have a choice because when I built the computer in the house, I built it right after 10 came out, and I put the Ryzen CPU in it, I got the 8 core. It won't run 7. It won't even run 8. The minimum it would run was 10, so I was forced to use 10 either way. I said, all right, well, I can deal with this, because I don't mind 10 anyway. And same with this one here. This runs 10. I just replaced the motherboard in this one. And they recommend 11, but it was compatible with 10. I said, well, that's important because I ain't running 11. Derek says YouTube screws things up all the time. Well, everybody does. Even in OBS. We've had, I'm on OBS 32.0.4. I started out, it was 27.0.0. It was fine at 27. Oh no, we're going to fix it. So they come up with 28. 28 was a fucking disaster. They had to update it, I think within a couple of weeks because it wasn't working right at all. And then it's all right, so fine, you got it fixed, leave it alone. Oh no, we're going to go even further. And it's like every time you turn around, they update it and fuck it up. Why don't you test this shit before you put it out in the public, And it's like they're not testing it. It's stupid. Oh, you got a whole bunch of links there, Gerald. I'll check them all out later. But, same with cars, Now, Ford is taking a beating. I don't know if you guys keep track of it. They got 15 or so recall notices on all their Fords. Right? Everything from they're catching fire from defective ignition switches to the brakes going out because they forgot to put a cotter pin in the link going to the gas pedal, and eventually it just falls off. Rear cameras stop working. Engines blowing up because that EcoBoost engine, that's a 3-cylinder. I didn't know. I thought it was a 4. Turns out it's a 3-banger. Well, of course it's going to blow up because a 3-cylinder engine is fucking unnatural. It's just, it's like, well, how in the hell are they even still in business? Everything they've turned out in the last 2 years has been basic dog shit. I wouldn't own one. And I like Fords, but not to do shit. You couldn't give me one. It says time to go back to DOS 2.11. Absolutely, man. I remember DOS. The first computer I ever had was an IBM clone, an 8086, no hard drive. Had DOS 2.1 on it. And then I went to another IBM clone, a 8088, had the same 2.1 on it. And I went to a 286 and it had DOS 3.0. Or was it 3.1? I don't remember which. And it was shortly thereafter they finally came up with the Windows. So I even taught myself how to do BASIC, so I could program, any of the DOS functions. So it is what it was. But yeah, you're right, Ray. XP Pro wasn't bad either. I like the XP, but once again, something works. Oh God, we can't have that. It's like my refrigerator. Now listen, this is bullshit. 6 years ago, I had to buy a new refrigerator for the house because we just bought the house, and probably a good thing it did because it had one of those French door refrigerators in there before, one of the $4,000 ones that have 2 compressors in them. It would have cost a fortune to run it. So in a way, I'm kind of glad it died the night we moved in. But I bought a side-by-side, a Frigidaire, $1,300. It was on sale. It was regular $1,500. Has a water dispenser and ice dispenser in the door. Nice, what do they call it? The aluminum or what? Stainless steel. Nice machine. Looks good, Well, since I've had it, I've had nothing but problems with it. The first year, it developed a leak in the water system for the water dispenser. I wound up repairing one of the hoses because it just split. I don't know why. Then I found out that when you have a power outage or a power failure, or even a surge, it puts the thing into what I call limp mode. It stops cooling pretty much. I mean, it's like half cools. And the only way to fix it, I thought I was ready to get another refrigerator. Fucking thing's a year old and it's shit already. I did some, thank God for YouTube in that respect. You had to turn it off, hit the reset button, which was hidden inside the refrigerator, and then turn it back on, and it would be fine. Anytime you get a power interruption, you had to do this, or it would go into limp mode. Who in the fuck designed this shit, right? So, let's see. Oh, then the fan underneath, I think it's for the frost coils, it fell off. Just spun off the motor. And it wasn't cooling right, so I pulled the thing out because I heard some weird noises anyway. And there's the fan laying, inside the machine on the floor of it. Well, at any rate, so I had to super glue it back on because it wouldn't stay otherwise. I got that fixed. Then the light bulb in the freezer went out. I can't even find it. Turns out I gotta pull out the whole, take apart half the freezer section to get to the light bulb. Totally asinine. Of course, it's LED. Now I don't really have a problem with LEDs except they don't last as long as they claim they do. So the freezer section's been in the dark now because I pain in the ass changed the bulb. The main bulb in the refrigerator section went out. I bought a new one. That was last year. That was a $20 bulb, LED. Now, just a couple weeks ago, I opened the fridge and you got strobed out, man. Be flashing back and fuck, man, I can't even watch it. I gotta hold the button on to keep the light off. Otherwise, if you were, had some sort of disease, whatever that disease is, you'd go into a fucking seizure. So I found on Amazon I had 2 of the LED bulbs for $10. So I went ahead and bought them, so at least now I got an extra. And even that was a pain in the ass to put in because they have the whole thing locked behind this plastic. It's fucking ignorant, So now, of course, once again, it's leaking again. I'm going to have to replace the valve unit, which I have a new one because I bought it the last time it went bad. I thought something was wrong with it. It wasn't. But I have to replace that whole thing because it's leaking again. Well, I just said, you know what? Fuck it. I don't care. I don't need that dispenser in the door. I'll just, we have a fucking big jug in the refrigerator, and just get our water that way. We keep it cold. So I didn't hear it, but my wife says, there's a damn something beeping. I don't hear nothing. So it took her like a couple of days to figure it out. The refrigerator's beeping. Now, if you leave the doors open, it will beep. Not very loud. I mean, you can barely hear it. But the doors aren't open and it's beeping. I think it's because the ice maker and the drink dispenser aren't working anymore, and it's like a code or something. How do you shut it off? I don't think you can. I said, I don't hear it. I don't care. My wife says it's driving her nuts. I said, well, you're going to have to learn to tune it off. So why do they do this shit? Go back to the old mechanical shit. No electronics in it. It'll last for 20, 30 years. And it's cheaper to make. What the fuck? So it's a dual boot how to. I do know how to do that, believe it or not. There's a shorter one, okay. Races until I couldn't get updates anymore. Yeah, well, that's what happens with the old stuff. But I'm kind of stubborn with the 10. I mean, they're not supporting it now, except for a fee, I think, or they're getting ready to put a fee on it. Well, I turned my updates off anyway. I don't want or need them, I've got a good anti-malware software in there and anti-spyware software. I figure that's good enough, and everything's backed up anyway, so if somebody does fuck up my computer, I just format it and start over again. Ed says my first computer is a Tandy. I had a Tandy 1000. That was my. Actually, that was my first computer. Or was it? Yeah, before I got what I call a real computer, and that you had to learn basic because you had a. And I had yours probably had the same thing. It didn't have a hard drive. It had a cassette recorder, and it would use that to store a little bit of information on it. It was cool because it was color, but well, at least the one I had was color. It was pretty basic, but I was writing, well, by today's standards, they were basic programs, but I was writing some software programs, games and stuff. I was even fucking around. They had synthesized speech on there. And you had to throw. It didn't sound good, but it was a start. And for something that old, that was. I remember going into the Radio Shack, and I said, that was like a year after I bought the thing. I said, I said, when are they going to come up with a better computer? He said, what do you mean? I said, something that does, like maybe, how did I put it? Yeah, I can't remember now. It was a three-dimensional something or another. He says, you ain't never going to get that. That's like military grade shit, I go, you got to be kidding me. I said, you're telling me they can't come up with a home computer, they can't do basic stuff like that, Well, they did a couple years later, but he didn't think that would ever happen. And he says, that's military grade, you wouldn't have enough money to get one anyway. Yeah, well, what do I know? Let's see, Ray says, everything is so damn expensive. My same truck I bought in 19 new is 70. I know, it's ridiculous. And the funny thing is, from what I understand right now, there is literally tens of thousands of brand new vehicles sitting in lots that nobody's buying. One, because they're all garbage anyway, and mostly because they're too expensive. The median price for a car now is $50,000. Who the hell's going to spend 50 grand on a car? I ain't. I mean, I think they ought to be back to around, 6,000 like they used to be, back in the 80s. But and they need to get all this shit out of them. What's in it, like the appliances. We don't need computers in the cars, We don't need to have digital dashes. We don't need any of that shit. A basic car. You don't even want seat bags or seat belts or airbags. They can shove them up their ass too. A basic car with nothing, except a friend of mine back in the '60s used to buy a Chevy Impala every couple of years. So I buy the base model. It has a heater and an AM radio. No power seats, no power windows, nothing else. Just a heater and an AM radio. And the AM radio was actually, at that time, they charged you for it. So that's all I want. That's all I need. And that's all I ever got in the cars, He got good service out of them, and they were cheap. Of course, back in those days, I think a new car was around $2 grand. But Ray says, my chilled chest freezer died. It was cheaper to buy a new one than to fix the old one. That's unfortunate because the new one won't last anywhere near as long as your old one. But because, like I said, I've got a half chest freezer, the half model. I like it. I don't know how long it'll last. I hope it lasts a while. I mean, I've had it, I think, almost 5 years now. It says the dollar's worthless. Well, yeah, that's part of the problem, but it's just greed, And it's because they're putting all this crap in the car. Airbags. A new car has what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. A minimum of 8 airbags in it. Airbags are about $1,000 each. Here's $8,000 right there. Do you need them? No. It's false sense of security anyway. It's like, well, if I get in a wreck, the airbags will save my life, so I don't give a fuck. I'll drive like an idiot. And that's the thinking that goes on out there. If you got in your car thinking if you wreck, you're going to die, you're going to try real hard not to wreck, won't you? We need to make driving dangerous again. But he said that's all. And then all the electronics, you know. I think the average car has something like 17 computers in it. Why? What the hell is the one there that once it was a Ford? It was a oh yeah. I think that was a brake. No, was that? Yeah, the brakes quit working because there's a brake module, a computerized brake module. So instead of pushing on the pedal and it putting hydraulic fluid, you know, to the components that need it, it's using basically fly-by-wire. You push on the pedal, and a sensor tells the hydraulic unit to pump hydraulic fluid to the brakes. Why in the fuck do you need or even want that? It's dangerous, obviously, and it doesn't work. Let's see. Gerald says the most important tip to boot to a thumb drive from Windows with the thumb drive plugged in, hold down the shift key and click on start reboot. Hold shift until you get blur repair. Troubleshoot. Okay, I'll remember that. He says continue. Oh, troubleshoot, continue. Green screen arrow down to troubleshoot, then select boot from USB device. Oh, okay, that makes sense. I think I saw it done a slightly different way, but hey, whatever works. Ray says, I want a car, a truck with a carburetor, distributor, window cranks, and a dial radio. Well, I like the power windows because, you know, because I'm lazy and I don't like reaching over to roll up or roll down. I've got manual windows in my Ford Ranger. They're okay. I mean, I got the air on most of the time anyway, so rarely do I roll the window down. But in the car, yeah, power windows are a must. But that's really all I want. And the cruise control is nice, but even the cruise control is not simple anymore. They got adaptive cruise control that can sense when the car in front of you might start braking. It'll start braking. Well, I don't need that shit either. Are you driving the car or is the car driving you? And as far as, well, fuel injection is nice. You know, it could be complicated, but it does make, I mean, look, most of my life I drove carbureted cars, you know. And I remember the bullshit in the cold mornings, you know. Had to choke it, pump the shit out of the pedal, turn the key, and hope it kicks, you know. And with fuel injection, you don't have that problem. So, I mean, there's some good, but once again, those are basic design ideas. But they're doing everything now. It's like, all right, my Grand Marquis, for example. I got a recall notice 7 years ago. Mine's in 04. But the recall notice, I think, happened. It covered every one of them from like 02 up. But just a Grand Marquis. What would happen was they have a module, you know, computer component that controlled the headlights. I know fucking why. It should be simple. Switch, wired to the headlights. Turn the switch, headlights come on. Oh no, they gotta have a module. Well, the module would fail and you'd lose your high beam or your low beams. Now you could hold the high beams on because it wouldn't let you go to high beam, but if you pulled back the handle and held it, that was the only way you'd have headlights. And you had to do that till you hopefully got home, because this, of course, would happen in the middle of the night. Now they replaced mine, even though mine wasn't bad yet. They said mostly cars that had over 100,000 miles. I only had like 80,000 on mine, you know. But I took it in and yeah, go ahead and change it, you know. It didn't cost me that. I didn't care. But why do you do that? You know, the old cars, you had a switch. It was wired directly to the headlight, well, through a fuse. And well, actually, they didn't even fuse the headlights. That was wired directly to the headlights. You pulled the switch, the lights came on. You pushed the switch, the lights went off. Why in the fuck would you screw with that? You know. Gerald says, I think that the longer video shows this way to get your system to... Oh, okay, that makes sense. Ed says, I miss vent windows. Yeah, I kind of do too, in a way. Now, some of the Lincolns, they had power vent windows. They didn't open this way, but they went up and down. And that was kind of cool. And they should have kept them because they really did serve a purpose. The ones that swung out were actually better. But I had them on most of my vehicles back in the day, you know. Judge says, don't use legacy BIOS. You need to use the newer system. Makes sense. Ray says, I had 2 Dodge trucks and the ABS module went out on both. Couldn't get a replacement, so didn't drive them. And Dodge kept harassing me about the airbag recall. I told them to find the parts for my brakes. Did you have to cut the airbags on there? My wife had them on her Mustang. She had replaced. I didn't have them. Mine are disconnected anyway. Okay, I don't want shit blown up in my face. They're still there. They're not functional. I disconnected them. I don't want fucking things blown up in my face. And I prefer to, rely on my driving experience and instinct to not get myself in a position where I need an airbag. This is racist. First, I do not need airbags for a truck. I can't drive with no brakes. That's true. And Gerald says, yeah, wing windows were great. They were. I thought they were great, man. Especially if you're a smoker. If you ever smoked and you rolled down your driver window and flicked your cigarette out, anybody in the back seat was going to get hit in the face with your butt. Your cigarette butt, If you had a wing window, you could flick it out the wind window and it would just go off out in the, it wouldn't come back in the car. I mean, that may not be the best reason to have one, but it was the truth. I mean, because that's what I used to do with mine. I'd flick them out the wing window, So, well, I mean, that's if it was cold out. If it was hot out, I'd have the windows down because most of my cars didn't have air conditioning in them, So we had, 260 air conditioning, 2 windows down, 60 miles an hour. But when I flicked the cigarette, I'd put my arm out the window and down and flick it that way. But, I don't smoke anymore, so it's not even an issue, but if you did. I don't know, like I said, it is just, I remember when they first came out with ABS brakes, I had my shop at the time, and one of my customers come in, he just bought a new car, one of the first ones that had ABS brakes. He didn't know about them. I don't like dealing with the dealers, so I figured I'd come to you, but I said, I think there's something wrong with the brakes. He says, they're really spongy, So I looked out there. I said, well, yeah, it's because you got ABS in there. He said, what the hell is ABS? Is it anti-lock brake system? I said, what the hell is that? He said, well, you're from the north. I said, if you're on a slick road, you don't just slam on the brakes and lock them up. You pump the pedal to slowly come to a stop. Well, that's what ABS does for you. When you slam on your brakes, it pulses the brake pedal so that it doesn't lock up the wheels and you have more control over stopping. He says, I don't like that shit, man. He says, I don't like having a spongy brake. I said, yeah, I know, I've heard that before, but this is the way it is. There's nothing you can do about it. The brakes are fine, It's just the way they work. And a few of my customers complained about that. Real men flick their butt over the roof. Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that. I don't think I ever did. The only reason I didn't do that because there was a car behind me. I didn't want my butt hitting his windshield, because he might get pissed off. So I tended to put it downward where it hit the road. Courtesy, Ray says, I miss my old 69 pickup, sadly lost to a forest fire. Yeah, that sucks. This is the first pickup truck I ever owned, the Ford Ranger. I never had a pickup. I had vans, I had a 71 Dodge Tradesman van. I had a 79 Chevy van. Had a 65 Ford Econoline van. That's the only ones I had. I think so. Yeah. And I had an international travel all 4-wheel drive, but I did turn that into a pickup because the roof was starting to rot, and I cut that roof section off behind the second doors, and kind of made it into a mini a short bed pickup. So technically, I guess it was, but you know, I never really had a use for a pickup truck until, like I said, when I came up here, I says, I don't like using my car to haul lumber with. I'm gonna go buy a truck. So I had the money, and you know, I looked for a cheap truck to buy, and I found one. So that's the way it works. I said it is what it is, but if you offered me a new car, I'd take it, but I'd sell it. I wouldn't drive it. I'm not interested in it. I don't like the spyware. I don't like the fact that somebody can shut it off or lock me out or lock me in. I got problems with all that crap. It's like my car, my fucking rules. you know. I don't have none of that shit in either one of my cars. They're pretty basic. Even my wife's car, her Mustang, which is the newest out of all ours. Hers is an '05 Mustang with 6-cylinder in it, and it doesn't really have any of that crap in there. So it's like I don't remember. No, she doesn't even have a key fob. I don't think, because I don't have a key fob on either of mine either. And that's another thing too. They're another whine about the push button starts. They're saying they don't work half the time. If you lose the key fob or if the battery goes dead in it, the button don't work because that's your technical. It's like a digital key. What the fuck, man? Oh, and the auto stop and start. That's even worse. They say you can turn it off, but once again, if we don't ask for it, why is it thrown on us? Now the good news is the EPA just ruled that it was a waste of time anyway, so the car makers are no longer producing it. They said that 80% of the cars on the road had that feature. I wasn't even aware. I knew some did. I didn't know that many. Most people turn it off because it's stupid. It probably wastes more gas than it saves. Everybody knows you waste more gas starting and shutting off the car, and you use letting it idle. I remember, a few years ago, some guy goes, because I idle a lot. Like I said, if I go to the store and I'm not going in, the wife does, I'll idle the car to run the radio and shit, because I don't want to risk a dead battery. Hey, one guy knock on, you're idling your car, yeah. So what? You're polluting the planet. You fart? Oh yeah. I said, well, you're polluting the planet too. Go fuck off. He got the point, but it's fucking stupid. James says, Ray Bertelson, my '69 Ford destroyed by fire found by the railway tracks, not far from home. Well, they must have lit that one, right? And Ed says, I had a Dodge Dakota with rear ABS only. I hit the brake and it always went in a straight line. I still had to pump the brakes. I know rear ABS is kind of weird. Why? I mean, if you knew how to drive in the snow, and that's what it was for, snow and ice, you didn't need ABS because you knew to pump the brakes. As a northerner, I knew that. Even though I didn't drive much up north, but my dad, he taught me that stuff. Because we were all born up north. When you're driving, if you get nice, pump the brake. Don't just stand on it, because once the wheels lock, you're just going wherever the car wants to go, and you're screwed. Gerald says some of the cars you can't turn auto starts to off. That's probably true, and also stupid. The race, the sad thing is these new vehicles fold up like an accordion. They aren't built, and they claim that they do that on purpose. Now, the only thing I have, many years, I had a '65 Chevelle SS, Malibu actually. It was raining like hell. I was down at Bonita Springs in Florida. It was raining like hell. I had to stop, and it was a single lane road. Had my left turn signal on, wait for oncoming traffic to let up so I could make a turn onto the road to go to my house. I happened to glance in my rear view, and this fucking old Delta 88, an old one from the 60s, he was flying. He was coming up on me fast. Motherfucker, he's not going to be able to stop. So I stood on the gas, which was a mistake because all I did was spin out. Well, he knew he couldn't avoid me, so he ran off the road, you know. And thank God he did, because I'm sure it would have blew up my car for sure getting hit. He was doing over 100 miles an hour. I was stopped. It wouldn't have been pretty. But he veered off. He slammed into a tree. I watched the whole thing. It was like slow motion. It was kind of cool in a way, but he laid down. He threw his glasses off and laid down on the seat, and the car hit that tree. Well, the tree didn't budge. The car kind of wrapped around a little bit. It didn't push the engine back more than a couple inches, but I mean, he didn't get hurt at all. You know, he got out of the car, and because I said, "Dude, are you okay?" He said, "You didn't have your turn signals." I said, "Yes, I did. You drunk? You know." Besides that, what the hell are you doing that fast for anyway in the fucking rain? So he said, "Well, this bullshit's your fault." So the cops came and they found him at fault, you know, and I think he got arrested anyway. But the fact remains, here's a big fucking 8,000-pound sled, slams into a tree at around 100 miles an hour, and the guy walks away. Now, if you'd have done that with a car today, well, they wouldn't even bother looking for you. You'd be part of the metal. So explain to me how crumple zones save your life. I don't understand it, you know. If you're pinned in the fucking car and all that metal cuts off your legs or whatever, how in the hell can that be better than just, you know, not getting hurt at all? That's some fucked up shit, man. All right, Ed, have a good one, man. Thanks for coming in. Have fun. Be safe this weekend. Hopefully we'll see you Thursday. The Ray says these new cars are made out of as much metal it used to be in an old Lincoln Cadillac hood. That's true. Well, you know, I mean, you could actually push on a door and bend it, you know. If you fell into a car, you could actually fuck up a door or fender. And that's part of the problem. Well, once again, you know, oh, we got to make them lighter because they'll be more gas efficient. You know, I had a 65 Chevy Impala. I had a straight 6 in it, 3-speed on the column, which I moved to the floor. It was a built motor, mind you. And I still got 29 miles to the gallon with my foot in it half the time. Which is better than most newer cars up until a few years ago. I don't understand the problem. And of course, you know, fuel injection, all that, better transmissions also improved gas mileage. So why do they need to be so light, you know? There was more chrome on the front of a Packard than anything they built. That's true. James, you taking off too? All right, see you later, James. Thanks for popping in. Judge said, Jim, you want me to go live in 20 minutes for you? I mean, you can go live if you want, but I probably won't be able to attend because I got a bunch of stuff I got to take care of yet, and it's getting kind of late, but I will catch up with you the next time you go live, hopefully. Yeah, I mean, I remember playing football with some friends a few years before my stroke. It would have been like 2005 or 6. And I was playing in the front yard, and I went to catch the ball. I lost my balance. I fell into the neighbor's Corvette. Shattered his door. It sucked because I had to buy him a new door, you know, which was not cheap, by the way. But it's like, what the fuck, man? You know. Could you imagine getting hit by something like that? Like, you know, screw that, you will die. So, yeah, there's some stuff going on there. You know what? I just noticed that my overlay, it doesn't usually catch up anyway. I have to reset it. It always does that regardless of who I'm on with. We'll see the next one. The chat should come up on the screen. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And they want $50,000 for it. You know, make the damn thing simple again. Make them a little heavier and stronger. Get the size up. That's why I drive the Grand Marquis, because it's like the biggest car out there anymore. That and the Lincolns. Well, the older Lincolns. The new Lincolns and new Cadillacs are a joke. It's like, I ain't driving that little piece of shit. Ain't gonna happen. So, you know. Anyway, it is what it is. I've seen Corvettes getting a high speed wreck. Then they turn to dust. Yeah. Well, I remember when I was a kid, living up north. Our house was 2-story. My bedroom was up on the second floor, and it was facing one of the roads that are common. You know, it wasn't a highway, it was just a river road. And this idiot, it was like a 67 or 66, maybe it might have been older than that. I don't remember now because like I said, I was just a kid. It was an older vet. He slammed in the back of a dump truck. The only thing left was the chassis and the engine. They didn't even, I mean, there were bits of him around, but the car disintegrated. I think he disintegrated with the car. He died, obviously, you know, burst into flames too. It was a mess, you know. And I'm thinking, I am never going to own a fiberglass car. You know. I drove a couple of vets. I don't like vets anyway. I mean, I drove a 65 split window. We put a 454 in it, a little built, and my first personal speed record was achieved with that. I did 165 miles an hour. But I didn't like the car. I mean, it was literally a cockpit. You know, you couldn't move in the fucking thing. And the car rode like a log wagon. You felt every pebble on the road. And I'm thinking, holy shit, you know, like I said, I was young and stupid. And I didn't think I could die at that time. So it's like, you know, I'll go whatever the car does. And it probably would have went faster, but I was running out of road, so I had to start braking. But, you know, but if something would have went wrong, yeah, there would have been nothing left of the car or me, probably. And I drove some newer ones. Well, another friend of mine had that was a 76, I think, Corvette Stingray. I didn't like that, dude. He loved the car. That was his baby, you know. I was surprised he let me drive that one. I had to go pick him up. He called me up. He said, you got to go to my house, get my car, and pick me up. I said, all right, you know. So his wife gave me the keys to the car, and I went and got them, you know. And I really didn't like driving that thing, man. It's, like I said, I thought it was kind of a piece of shit, you know. And then another time, one of my customers, that was the last, the 5th generation or 4th generation, had the one with the digital dash in it. Well, they all had digital dash at that point. And he was having drivability problems with it, and I'm thinking, I wouldn't want this thing. I said, you'd be smart to sell it and get a real car. What do you mean? It's a Corvette. I don't care what it is. It's a piece of shit, you know. See, a fucking dash don't work. The whole thing's burned out. You have to replace the whole dash. You don't know how fast you're going, what the oil pressure is, or what it is. You know, nothing, because the whole damn thing was dead. It was a black display. He said, it's a piece of shit, man. Then I had the chance to buy one. It was a 2004. Was it 2004 or 1994? No, 2004 Corvette that had been hit in the front, but it only had body damage in the front. The chassis was fine, the engine was fine, had 4,000 miles on it. Was collecting dust in this guy's garage. He says, you give me 10,000 for it, I'll sell it to you. 4,000 mile Corvette. But I checked, and it was going to cost me like $8,000 to get another front end for it. You know, and get it painted and all that. And I'm thinking, I probably could get my money out of it, but I didn't do it. Some other guy bought it, and I'm sure he did whatever. But once again, I just don't like vets, so I was never a vet fan, you know. I had one customer had a Corvette. That was, I think that was a 2002 or whatever. He needed a starter for it, so he had it towed in, and said, I need you to get a starter for my vet. I said, all right, no problem. I said, well, you got 2 choices. You can get a regular Chevrolet starter, which is the same thing, for half the money, or I can get you an actual Corvette starter for, twice the price. Which way do you want to go? Oh, gotta have a Corvette starter. You do realize it's the same starter, the same part number, except that, one is for a 350 Chevy and one is for a 350 Chevy Corvette. And the Corvette starter was literally twice the price. Oh, I gotta have the Corvette starter. It's your money, man. I get what you want, but if it were me, I just put the damn regular starter in there and not worry about it, So it's a little crazy, but it is what it is. So I don't know. Where the hell's that storm anyway? It looks like shit out there, and then like nothing's happening. Yeah, it looks like it's getting closer, but it sure is taking its time. It probably ain't gonna rain anytime soon, so I don't think I'm gonna worry about it. I don't know. All craziness. They should be doing something in here instead of yakking on the damn internet, but I've done enough for one day. Actually, I should. Did I clear off the build plate? No, let me clear off the build plate on the A1. And restart another set of trucks. Another feature I like about that is when you finish your print, it gives you the option to reprint what you just printed. 2 finger clicks, and it's printing the same thing you just did, so you don't have to like reprogram it all over again. That's fucking slick as shit. The jury's still out on that weird musical shit that it does when it starts and stops, but hey, at least you can't say you didn't know what the hell was going on. So, my wife got her new paper printer today. I was going to set it up for her. She said, well, you better wait until you figure out what to do with the winter because it's wireless, I said, well, it's no big deal. I says, I could set it up on Comcast for now because it's probably going to be a few days before I kill Comcast. And we'll just switch over to, Starlink when the time comes. Well, I'll just wait. All right. Typical woman. And then she'll want me to do it when I don't want to do it, Like, I'm tired or I'm doing something. Oh, you got to do my printer now. Okay. Y'all know how it is. So let's see what else I got going on here. That's actually about it at the moment. Like I said, I'm kind of taking a day off from doing anything of real value. And then probably tomorrow I'll get serious again and, get some actual work done in here because I need to. Yeah, it's I'm real happy with the Starlink though. I think we can safely say that this has been a successful test. And I think I'm going to go ahead and drop off now unless somebody else comes in. And I got to wrap up, and I got a few things I do got to take care of at the house. So I'm just going to go ahead and sign off. I won't do an outro because why? I'm just going to say goodbye. And we'll see you Thursday. Remember, 6 o'clock. And of course, remember to do your clocks tonight, too. We're springing forward, so y'all are going to lose an hour of sleep. And so will I. But anyway, Thursday, 6 p.m. We'll be back. Well, it's daylight savings time, so it'll be daylight savings time. Shortline Thursday. Don't miss it. And we'll see y'all then. Until then, Have a fun and safe weekend. Play with your trains, man. And we'll see y'all then. Good test, great numbers. Thanks, Derek. They are. Good night, Gerald. Have a good one. Ray, good night to you too. Jesse, we'll see you. Ray, have a good one. Ed, have a good one. James, have a good one. I think I covered everybody. And that's it. Now, how do I shut this thing off? Oh, here we go. Well,